here across from the Rensen, we have the world-known cosmic cruiser, Ivan Benek. Thank you for having me in your vehicle.
Hey,
It's a pleasure
yeah,
to ride in this 32-foot
32 and a half.
and a half,
You don't forget
point
the half.
five vehicle.
That 0.5 is always handy.
So tell us a little bit more about this.
Well, this madness started this time 48 years ago.
48
This
years
time
ago.
of the year, 48 years ago, I started cutting up this. This was a Chevy van, and we started cutting it up, and it went into phase one, which lasted from say September, October of 76 into March or April before it was in paint. And
Nice.
the first show was in McCormick Place in Chicago.
So what gave you this idea to stretch this vehicle and put 8 wheels on it?
Well, that kind of started actually in 76, the first year, 77. The first year that I drove the vehicle, a good distance on a trailer, because it wasn't, it was a show van. So we drove it on a trailer to Roanoke, Virginia, and we blew a tire on the trailer at the back. And I'm going, oh, wow, look at something's happening back there. And I couldn't feel anything. So I pulled over, and sure enough, yeah, we got a blown tire. But the moral of the story was I realized how important it is to have 2 wheels on the back of the vehicle. And then I got deeper into it and said, yeah, 2 wheels at the front too could work. Safety first.
Safety first. Can you show us around?
Yeah, I can show
Thank
you
you.
around.
All right.
All right, so when I got deep into the idea of having the 8 wheels on it, and it was the second coming of the Cruiser, so it had to have 2 wheels, 2 engines, 2 rear axles, and all that kind of stuff. But the styling, I'll talk about the styling for a second. The styling just was influenced probably by just different cars that I've seen over the years. And the front end itself was inspired actually by a Lamborghini. And because I had a few of them parked around me when I was shorter with a smaller version of the Cruiser. But in any case, I just decided when the front end had to be built, okay, we had to have some style. And in order to do the style, you have to stretch it out and do whatever you got to do, because I needed all this room under the hood so you're not stuffing everything in there. And with the twin engines, I needed the room. So that's why the front end is a little longer than most. And from the 70s, it was the thing that a lot of people did in the 70s, to stretch out the nose and bring it out. And every now and then I even get hate about, oh, that front end is so long. Oh my God, I like everything except the front end. I'm going, excuse me?
What inspired you with that front end?
The whole idea is if a Lincoln can have a long front end, and every other car had a long front end, why are we going to say that a van has to have a short nose that all the vans have? Well, I'll tell you why the vans have a short nose. The vans simply have a short nose because at the end of the day, somebody wants to park them inside of a garage. That's why they're so small. It's, you don't need an engine next to your ankle and be exposed to the heat of an engine. The engine doesn't need to be next to your feet. The engine on a van doesn't need to be stuffed next to you. The front end doesn't need to be short because it just pushes way too much air. And if 999,000 cars over the years had a long front end, I'm going, well, why can't a van have a long front end? What the hell's wrong with the proportions of that? So
Now,
I did what I did because that's what I wanted to do.
explain this mural.
The mural is actually just things that I've seen over the years, and this is actually back home. It's in Croatia, and this is the actual scene right here is a spot in Croatia that I personally photographed. Woke up first thing in the morning. I was on a boat, my cousin's boat. woke up in the morning, took a picture of it, and says, someday I'm gonna paint that bay. So when I got going on this, I wanted that bay. I wanted my ancestral home from Croatia. I wanted that represented in there. We've got a whole bunch of rocks in there that
What's
are.
this complex right here?
This is just if I was going to build a house in an area like this, I would want to be up above the waves, and my house would have a staircase going up into it and the wraparound porch all the way around it. So that's something that I would design if I was to build a home. And of course, the little bitty sketch of a car right there, that's the next car that I'm building. So, but anyway, yeah.
Show us the rear end of
influenced
this.
all of that.
And this is another spin-off of the...
This is another spin-off of a spot in Croatia, and then later on, I once I got this rock going, and I says, a few years later, I says, something's missing, so I decided to do this monolithic kind of sign for me, Ivan, creating art since 1972. So that's how long I've been at it.
Beautiful.
Now. Yeah. So that's what works. And then this here is hang on, slow down. This is the car that I'm building now. It's just a sketch of the car that I'm building now.
And what do you call that?
I don't even know. I don't know what I'm going to call it. I told my mom what I thought about calling it. I was going to call it Anaconda because my mom's name is Anna or Anka. But she didn't like it. So I got her back to renaming. So this side here talks about my 70s vans. And so this is a van from Raleigh, North Carolina. And the reason it has no wheel on it, because it's been on blocks since 1982. It's been in storage. He only pulls it out to 1 or 2 shows a year, and it hasn't done that for 10 years now. The bike is 1976, #1 Harley in the country back then.
And you painted it?
Yeah, I painted it. The guy brought it over from Chicago, and I airbrushed it for him, and then he took it home. And then this is the Cruiser, the original version of the Cruiser in 1978 when it came out, to 82 when I started cutting it up again for this version. Anyway, and then this is Strange Brew. Remember we talked about Strange Brew on the way here?
Yes.
Strange Brew, the van. Strange Brew, the car, is not represented here. This is mostly the vans. This is, what do you call it? Magic Butterfly. This won 77. It won Best Mural at the Nationals and at Van Fest. So that was my kind of like my biggest winner. Hemi Cuda that I built for a guy. And then this is a van, Wild Cherry. 6-wheel Ford van that I painted for a guy. And my personal car here, the big long limo, 41 foot stretch limo that I built. And this is marooned, a 6-wheel minivan that kind of looked like the Cruiser, and then the Cosmic Hair limo in here. And in all the different magazines that I was in over the years are all depicted that the cars are actually sitting on top of them, because that's all part of my life.
Idea.
Yeah, well, it's what I did. It's what I did. First year I was in about 6 different magazines in '76, so I went from nobody knowing who in the hell I was to everybody knowing who in the hell I was in basically 1 year.
George Barris of the North.
Yeah.
Very
We've done enough stuff.
One of one Cosmic Cruiser.
Yeah, that's it. So
can you show us the inside?
Yeah. Captain's quarters. Whatever.
Captain's quarters.
Let him look. Johnny.
I'll let him look.
Johnny,
Yes, sir.
get out of the way.
Come on.
Look.
No problem, no problem.
We're not leaving right now, are we?
I like it. Beautiful.
He's selfish. He just wants to keep going. Boom.
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh my God.
Big
Damn
wolf.
it. I forgot my phone at home.
All right, inside the Cosmic Cruiser. Delighted to be in here. Thanks for having me, Ivan. What a ride. How long is this thing?
32 and a half feet.
32 and a half
Well,
feet.
the longest time I was telling everybody was 34 feet, and about, I don't know, 5 years ago, my grandson and I decided to measure it, and I'm going, huh? Where did I get 34 feet from? It's like for 20 years I was telling everybody it was 34, but it was 32 and a half.
So what kind of motors it got in it?
Well, it's we're running about a 1971 454 4-bolt main, 69 high performance heads on it, hypo heads from the factory. They're rectangular port. So basically, we picked that because that's what works at, say, 3,500 RPM. That's when the engine breathes and makes the ponies that it needs to run this down the highway at 75 miles an hour or something, you know.
So how long did it take you to build this thing?
Well, that's a long story because it's an evolution, really.
I understand
started,
I understand it's been through many stages. Many changes.
Yeah.
At one time it had, didn't it have a fish tank on the wheel wells?
Yeah.
And actual fish in the aquarium.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, the basically the rocker panel, which is, you know, normally say the running board on a van, I decided to sculpt some. Well, actually, I'll backtrack. 76 is when I decided that I was going to build a radical van rather than just drive around in a custom muraled van, you know. Anyway, hang on 1 second. We've got some ponies and noise. Get going off the light. Anyway, so the wife and I, ex-wife, we went across North America with my first van. Drove from Roanoke, Virginia. Well, actually from Windsor to Roanoke. From Roanoke, Virginia, we went straight across United States and actually wound up in Tijuana. But while I was doing all that, I was collecting rocks.
Rocks?
I was
For what?
collecting rocks. I'll tell you. So I was collecting rocks, and I got a big-ass bag of rocks, and everybody's looking at me and said, what are you going to do with them rocks, Ivan? Because I brought them to the shop, right? I was at F&J. I'll bring them out. I says, I know what I'm going to do with these. Started layering them up. Instead of a flare, ordinary flare, I layered up the rocks into the area that would be the flare, the front of the wheel well of the van.
Oh, wow.
And we had that big scoop at the top, which now is just a scoop. Scoop. We had a scoop there, and basically like it looked like a little cave. And all these rocks were coming out of the cave. And then the running board got turned into a trough instead of just a running board. And we fiberglassed it. Fiberglassed the inside of it, and it became a little swimming pool for my fish.
Where do you get these genuine ideas?
I sleep on it, and next thing you know, it goes boink, little bitty light. So the ideas are easy actually for me, because the hard part about ideas is suppressing them, because I would be building way too much. I get ideas by the hour. There's not a topic that I haven't covered that I wouldn't mind doing, that it would be cool to build, and I'm going, I don't do it because it all takes time. So yeah.
Where do you get your ideas for painting, for murals?
The
customer asks for
what
something?
you've seen from me, all of that is technically, it's actually just an evolution of my life as an artist. And well, they really come from, firstly, it became an evolution. Like a friend of mine came to me and got me going on some artwork. And next thing you know, I was doing 6 or 7 of those along that theme over the years, you know. So, for example, Strange Brew. Strange Brew was the very first car that I won a Best Use of Color with from PPG, and that was in 1974. So 50 years ago this month, I put that vein out, and you know what? We're going to have to make a turn down towards that way because I can't make a turn up there. Up Gillette, I can't go south.
No.
So I'll do it where that car just went. Anyway, what was I saying? Strange Brew, yeah. So we've got to make a turn here, so it takes a little concentration. You got to look around. And no, I'm not going to do that either because this guy's in my way. There's a car that pulled right up to the light. So now, okay, this seat.
I totally forgot about this.
Yeah. That's why I questioned you. I said, hey, what about that? But yeah, so even this. Yeah, so we got to make sure that we don't curb it. Anyway.
Yes, what is it like driving this thing?
Well, you're just watching me. It's not hard.
Like a bus?
I get up with an idea. They wanted Jimi Hendrix and I forget who else on the hood of this car, and I turned the hood scoop into guitar, and then I wanted to do this seascape, this really cool seascape on the side of the car, and it's a 70 Torino convertible, so you can imagine how big that car is. But anyway, then on the other side, he came to me with a fold-out album cover of this alien that was fighting this guy on a winged horse, on a Pegasus, and they're going at it, and all these colors are flying around everywhere. The whole center of the car was just a firestorm of fireworks, if you will.
Nice.
And then where this guy's coming from is this land at this peaky mountain, just like the one I'm going to do for you later today. He's coming from a peaky mountain, and it has a ring cloud, like a Saturn kind of looking ring cloud around it. I got to make another turn and concentrate for a minute. And the ring cloud is actually supported by a herd of elephants. And then the elephants are standing on top of a giant turtle. So, with all the different elements that we put in there, it was just different things that he liked and I liked. And of course, you had to have a naked lady on the back trunk lid. Of course.
For attention,
and
right?
It was signed Murals by Ivan, 1974. And we still show that on my Facebook page all the time. Enough so that some people are probably tired of seeing it. Well, you could maybe move over just because I'm cutting over. Anyway, we have to go around the big ass.
So how many people can this hold?
This here?
Yes.
Well, we're talking about our work. Now you want to talk about how many people it can hold. It was only designed, it was originally designed to carry 15 people, but then when that whole syndrome didn't work out, we couldn't take it out to BC. We turned it into a personal van, took about 4 or 5 seats out, and put a great big huge bed in it. I don't know if I can make the turn here with this guy here. Nope.
So how do you make a turn on here if there's cars that you
when somebody's in the way, you just keep going straight.
Keep going until you got
a free spot.
Free spot.
Yeah.
I see.
Either that or stop and wait till he's out of the way. I obviously can't do it if he's in the way. But yeah, you were asking me before the thing fell down, how do I make the turns and this and that? Well, I laugh my ass off because a lot of negative-minded people go, oh my God, how do you drive that thing? Well, excuse me, but here comes a bus. And this thing is a short one, but there's 5,480 buses, school buses, on the road in Ontario that are longer than me. So how hard is this thing to drive? Come on, people. I just every now and then I let them have it, both barrels. How stupid is stupid? Just look up in the mirror.
So we got how many wheels? 8 wheels?
8 wheels, yeah.
8 wheels. Now the front has 4.
Yeah.
So how is that steering mechanism as far as turning and all that, the radius?
Well, all I really had to do once I started building it, I just had to figure out how much faster the front axle had to be turning before the other axle will follow it properly, because the only axle that turns fully is the very front axle. The second axle never turns fully. It only turns 10% less. But that way there, it follows it. So you gotta think about the rotation.
Right.
You gotta think about a round circle, and you can't possibly turn the second axle as much as the front axle. They'll bind against each other. You know what I mean? See, this one here, I can make it because we're far enough away from the sidewalk. We can run over some people here maybe. And I know I can make it because as soon as they get out of my way, this guy's going to stay where he is. You see? And we didn't run over the curb.
Nice job.
Yeah. All right, so we're going to do a little bit of airbrushing so everybody just knows what we were talking about and what airbrushing really is. So all it is just this little guy here, and that carries half an ounce, quarter of an ounce of paint, and so you have to change it frequently. And okay, so we're just going to do this little cliff right here, this mountain. It's just one small little part of this van that I'm muraling right now. So it's very, very little part. It's about 2 square feet, and where the mountain is, it's just actually 1 square foot, or a little bit more. All right, so I just put a couple of highlights on it, so I know which direction I want to go. And this is the mountain, the peaky mountain that's getting hit by the sun that's over behind us to the other side of the vehicle. Okay, and this is the back quarter panel, so I layer it up like this and do whatever I want, and then we'll see what else I can hit. So this is the vein of the rock formations coming down, and makes it a real interesting looking mountain. Okay, so we'll do this. And once you guys see the whole vehicle, which is probably next month, I might reshoot this when it's finished. So if it's not too cold, we'll pull it outside. It'll be cool because it'll be the following year. 1 year later, I'll come out with another van. All right. So here we go, see? You travel it down, and then this is the back of our monster dragon. So yeah, there's a dragon in here. So alright, and so the same color, we're gonna go and airbrush a little bit of a fog in here, so we can show that this is so high that the clouds are down around the middle of it. Alright, and the air moves up. Alright, and then this is the back of the mountain. Alright, and a couple more little for later. This will be directions of the rock formations as they come, but that'll be another color. So I'm just doing it just to have an extra little highlight when I put down the darker detail. This is going to happen after I draw for a while with this color. I'll do as much as I can with this one color, and then we'll move on to another color and do it up. Maybe we'll cut this and I'll mix another color. Alright, so I changed colors, and I put in a real nice transparent black, and added just a little bit of candy maroon to it, so that it's not black, it's actually candy maroon, but the black will give me the darkness, and the candy, but I don't want it just candy. So here we go. All right, so now, yeah, this one here is a different mixture, so it'll spray differently, so I'll adjust the airbrush to it. Not too much. On this airbrush, you adjust your air right here, so you can cut it right down, so it literally draws. So if you could zoom in with the camera, they could really see what goes on here when you start drawing with it. So they're just these tiny little lines, and I drew the mountain with the orange, and I leave some of that behind so that it's layering, and I get the artwork going by layering it, you see. So now it looks like cracks in the cliff, you see. And just because I laid it out the way I did, a bunch of different colors, it just kind of comes together. And see how the little white strokes that I put down, I leave them behind, and they look like a highlight on the rock. Rock face, cliff. Alright, so now I don't have to go too much down there. I don't want to paint into my cloud that's coming around the whole thing. So you'll understand the whole thing if Johnny comes back and does it when I'm finished with the van. I don't want to show this until it's all done. Actually, just a couple of days ago, I did yesterday, we did a live piece. And the reason I'm doing this now, because we're talking about doing an interview for 3 or 4 months, and it was never the right time. So today I said, well, come on. And I'm in the right spot. I can do a little bit of artwork that we can mix into the conversation. And we're going to have a cool interview. So all he has to do is place this in the right spot. If he doesn't do the right spot, I'm going to smack him. Alright, so there you go. You see, that's how mountains get painted. And here, I'm leaving some of the color, and then I'm blending some of the color. And coming up to there, and then over here, I want this darkness right here, and this becomes it shows you that it's a crack. So, and because it's actually literally a transparent black slash candy brandy wine, but not brilliant brandy wine, because if you just throw brandy wine on here, well, you know, it's a candy apple mountain. Really? No, I want black wines looking with a little tad of brandy wine in it. It'll only show under certain lights. So there you go. So if you go back to the beginning of the video, you'll see how much we did in a few minutes. Okay, so we'll go over here. And this is about the way I did the 25-foot mural on the motorhome. I just finished a couple months ago. RBC motorhome. If you guys want to have a little bit of fun, you just Google Ivan Benek and it'll come up what I just did on the huge motorhome, but the feeling was the same. These kind of mountains and this kind of airbrush, but on a grand scale where the paintings are 30 feet, 24 feet, whatever. And this is a little one compared to that, eh? Right, Johnny?
Yes, sir. Fantastic. You can really see the depth and the
each stroke, right?
shadows and the brightness on one side.
Yeah. And the more time I spend on it, look, see? You know, and you step back.
More life comes to it.
Okay? Okay, you can cut it. We'll do the other stuff. That's what it takes to get it right, you know? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Could you get that?
Fine detail.
Yeah. So you can zoom in as much as you want, like show the whole thing, and then now you can actually literally zoom in so that so we show what's going on here, and then you'll show the detail, and then you back up and see how much how effective it looks. You know what I mean?
Attention to detail.
Yeah. Okay. Whenever you're ready to roll.
It is rolling.
Oh, is it? Okay. Well, anyway, yeah. So this is what it takes to do a real, honest to goodness, detailed mural. Okay. So the first base of it is a big, huge brush. Not a huge brush, 1-inch fan brush, and maybe I'll show it to you later. But now I'm looking at each and every bush, and I'm saying, okay, so where would a highlight of a leaf look good, you know? And so that's where I'm putting my highlights where I feel that it's most advantageous for me. So in other words, this is the front leaf or branch comes up, and these leaves are getting lit up by the sun. These leaves not so much. So you can just suggest depth by just placing these guys in the right spot. And the only way that you know the right spot is I've been painting for 52 years, so I can feel the right spots. And this is the kind of thing that I started doing even at 15 years of age. You know what I mean? My very first painting that went worldwide was at 16, and it had this kind of feeling. Plant life, movement, highs and lows, and I went worldwide before I was 16 years old. Or was I just 16? Yes, I was just 16 years old, and I went worldwide with UNICEF, children's art. My artwork was picked, and it was, like I said, plant life, but it had these kind of feelings of detail, except it was, like a full-size plant that I painted in a bowl, basically a still life. But those same principles that I used back then when I was a kid, I'm still using now as a full-fledged lifelong artist. So, so this is the light that's hitting this tree, and the tree is getting some white leaves as highlights. So when we put clear on it, you won't know where any of this started or finished. Because this here, because it's brushed on, I have to have a minimum of 3, possibly 4 heavy coats of clear. And then I take this and I block sand all of this with 600 grit sandpaper, get it blocked out perfect, and then I clear it again another 3 coats. And then that gets water sanded and polished. Okay, so that's it. And so this one here might need some.
How many man hours have you invested in this mural?
This van here that I'm doing now?
Yes.
I have no idea. I just started painting and I'm still painting, so I don't really. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't keep track of time. Depends on the commission, I suppose. But like I told you, this is legacy stuff, so I'm doing this for myself. As you know, this was my van, and I sold it. And now it gets to go home all painted up. See, so now I got to watch it because my paint is drying up a little bit. And it's thicker now. So I literally should go back to the bench and thin it out. But I'm just going to do a few more strokes. I don't want to bore people with too much footage of all this. Anyway, I think that's it for now for artwork. We airbrushed, we brushed, we'll show you what it takes to do a real piece.
Thank you.
Please add and subscribe me and hit that notification bell for more updates.